All right. Well, it is 6:30, which signals the time for our meeting to start. And I know that some might be a little bit late coming in, and that's okay. They can definitely just pop in and kind of just start following along from the moment they get in. But I would just like to welcome all of you. Thank you so much for taking some time out of your busy evenings to join us for this little Canvas 101 meeting, just to help you as parents so that you can support your child through our learning management system, Canvas. Now, our students have become pretty pro at using WebEx. If you are new to WebEx or maybe have not spent a lot of time on it, just a quick tour here of the interface. So you can see some symbols up on my screen here. Of course, we have that microphone where you can mute or unmute your microphone. We would ask that you keep it muted for most of the presentation. However, there will be opportunity for question and answer, which you most definitely can come off of mute to ask those. Then you also have your video icon where you can start or stop your video. Feel free to keep that on. We love to see the people that we're working with, so we would encourage you to do that. And then a couple of bubbles over, there is a little dialogue icon, which is a symbol for the chat window. And so if you're more comfortable asking questions in the chat, feel free to just type them right in there. I have several supports on tonight's meeting who are going to kind of watch that chat window and are more than happy to answer any questions that you have. So hopefully all of you who are joining already have a Canvas parent account. Tonight's meeting is not really how to set up a parent account. We're hoping that you've already done that. Tonight's meeting is really about how to utilize the Canvas tools to best support your child. So I believe Tammy's going to put in the chat window a link for documentation on how to set up an account if you've not yet done that. And that's okay, because you most certainly can just continue to watch and set that account up afterwards, after the meeting. Okay, so with that, I'm going to go ahead and introduce myself. My name is Felicity Treptow, and I'm an integration specialist here with the DCE School District. Prior to my current role, I was a fourth grade teacher at Riverside Elementary for, gosh, I think it was 17 years. My whole career basically has been spent here at DC Everest. And so now with my new role, part of that role has been helping teachers to learn Canvas, helping students to learn Canvas, and of course, helping parents and support them. I'll go ahead and let my coworker introduce herself.
Hello, everybody. My name is Tammy Trebatuski, and similar to Felicity, prior to being an integration specialist with the district, I was a ninth grade physical science teacher at the junior high for 20 years and have just recently transitioned into this role. It's been very exciting. I'm very glad to be here with all of you. So please don't hesitate to ask questions and reach out if need be.
That's right. Thank you, Tammy. And you might also recognize some other familiar faces in tonight's call. We have two phenomenal rock star educators with DC Everest and actually right at Mountain Bay. And they are Alyssa Rupert, if you want to wave, Alyssa. She is the IMC specialist at Mountain Bay. And then we also have Tara Lancel. Go ahead and wave, Tara. Tara is a first grade teacher at Mountain Bay, and not only are these teachers phenomenal educators, but they also are really good at Canvas. And so there are Canvas support coaches at Mountain Bay to help support the teachers as they're continuing to learn about the system. All right, let's go ahead and get started. So tonight's objective is to explore Canvas from both that browser version and the parent app. Okay, and we really, really want to just help you as parents to navigate and to show you some tips and tricks on how you can best support your child's learning. Now, parents in Canvas are referred to as observers. So if you hear me refer to that, that's just what they call the parent account. You are an observer, okay? All right, so we're actually going to start with the browser. All right, and so it doesn't matter what browser you use, if it's Safari, if it's Chrome, right, if it's Microsoft Edge, you can access Canvas from a browser, and that browser can be on your computer, it can be on an iPad, it can be on your phone, right? And so the URL that you would go to is dce.instructure.com, which you can see on the screen there. And then you would go ahead and put in your username, and your username is going to be that full email address that you use to set up your parent observer account, and then of course whatever your password is. And I'm just going to go ahead and kind of switch over then to the browser. And so I'm all logged into a parent account here. And if you are just recently logging in for the first time this week, you're going to have this big message right to greet you, right? So this is an example of a global announcement, and we sometimes will send these out when we have an update. I believe it was about 3 weeks ago, we had one for instructing students to update their iPads to the newest operating system. This week we made a couple of changes in our grade book, and so we wanted to make sure that families and students were aware of that change and to just give their teachers some grace as they're working to review assignments and things. So that's a global announcement. And of course, once you've read it carefully one time, you can just exit out of it so that it kind of just shrinks away. You can get back into it if need be, but now it's kind of shrunk up. Okay, so this is kind of our landing spot, and we call this the dashboard. That's just the natural landing spot when you log into the browser. And I'm just going to give us a little tour here. So on the left-hand side of the dashboard, you see this green bar, the Everest green, right? We call that our global navigation. And we're going to be going through several different elements of the global navigation. Over here on the far right-hand side, we find our sidebar. And in the sidebar, you find things, events that are coming up. You can quickly get to the calendar. And then probably the most common thing that families do when they log into Canvas is they click on this view grades. Okay, and we will go there. We will explore that as well. But we're going to actually start within just exploring our dashboard right here. And so sitting on our dashboard, you probably see some course cards. Okay, now if you're observing more than one student, you might see a lot of course cards sitting on here. Okay, and we're going to help you with that. Within these course cards, you might notice there are some unique things. First of all, some of the course cards have icons on them and some of them do not. Those icons represent elements that are activated within the course. So I can see in this course right here that there have been announcements. I can see that there have been discussions. There are shared files. There are assignments. Okay, so we start to kind of see some of those icons. And we find those icons in other places in Canvas as well. This one down here has assignments in it, right? That little piece of paper with a pencil. You're also going to notice that on these course cards, there is a little circle in the right-hand corner with 3 dots. We sometimes call that the kebab, the snowman. There's all kinds of cute little nicknames for it. So you can tell the elementary teacher in me comes out. And when you click on that little kebab, you have some options. So sometimes when our courses come into Canvas, they have some really unusual naming conventions that can be somewhat confusing for students as well as families. It's the way that those courses are named in our student information system, and it's just how they come in, how they sink in. And so to help yourself out, Canvas allows you to give courses nicknames. So you can click on this little kebab here and you can change the name just to make it something that makes sense to you. You also can change the color that's associated with it, and that becomes important when we're looking at the calendar later. You can move it within your dashboard as to if you want it to sit up at the top. If you want to unfavorite it, which we're going to talk about in just a little bit, you can also do that. Okay, and then also in your dashboard, you find another little kebab right here. This kebab just allows you to do a couple other things. You can put a color overlay over the top. If you don't like seeing this dashboard view, you can go into what's called the card view. I'm kind of more of the dashboard, so I'm going to leave mine at that. Okay. I'm also going to show you how you can set favorites, because like I said, if you are observing multiple children, this can get really overwhelming. And so what you can do is you can set favorites to what courses you want to land on your dashboard. And the way that you would do that is you would come into courses over here in global navigation, and you see this big list of courses. But if you click on all courses, you're brought to a page here where you can star or unstar courses. Anything that is starred is now going to be a favorite. So I'm going to keep this one starred. I'm going to go ahead and keep this one starred, and so forth. And now when I go back to my dashboard, watch how it really cleans it up, right? So this helps you focus on which classes you really kind of want to watch carefully for your children so that you don't have to scroll through a big list of them. Okay, so there's just kind of a quick little tip for you right there. I believe you can have up to 20 courses on your dashboard. Okay, so we're going to go back over to global navigation, and we're actually going to click on the very top icon, which is your account. Okay, now you can go ahead and you can actually customize this to put a picture in there of yourself. We're going to start though by going into notifications. This is probably the most requested like information seeking that we get from parents. They're saying, help, oh my goodness. It's either I'm not getting notified about anything or I'm getting notified about everything. Help, help. How do I customize that? So coming into your account and clicking on notifications is really where you can start to pare down exactly what you want to be notified for and how often. Okay, so you're going to see all of these course activities over here on the left-hand side, and some of them are a little bit confusing, like what does it mean to be added to a conversation, right? Well, conversations is really the inbox within Canvas. It's the communication that you can have between yourself and your child's teachers. So that's what that means. And so do you see how if I hover over it, a little pop-up comes and gives me some additional information? Okay, so you can kind of take your time to go through these different course activities, hover over if you need to, and then on the right-hand side is how you adjust when and how often you want to be notified, right? So if you want to be notified immediately, daily, weekly, or never. Okay, so that's how you can kind of set up those notifications. I will say it does take a little bit of time, a little bit of finessing to get it exactly the way you want. You also can set notifications per course, and I'm going to show you that as well once we start jumping into the courses. Okay, so a couple other things under the account here. If we go into settings, in settings, you're going to see this is where you can change your profile picture. This is also where you can add some additional ways to be contacted. So let's say you're kind of more on the fly, you have your cell phone with you more often than say your computer or an iPad. And so if that's kind of your main way to be notified, you can actually put in your cell phone number, select your cell carrier, and you can be notified with those same notifications that we were just looking at right onto your cell phone. So you can add that right there. You also can add additional students who you might be observing. You might be familiar with that student pairing code that you got from your child or from your child's teacher, right? And so if you ever had to add additional children, you can do that right from within this account settings, okay? All right, so now we're gonna go ahead and we are going to move down. And actually, I think we're going to go to our calendar. So I'm going to go back to the dashboard here. And I'm going to cruise all the way to the right here on the sidebar. And I'm going to go ahead and click on View Calendar, because that's also another very popular place that families like to go to kind of keep up with what their child might be doing in class. Okay, so here you can see we're looking at the month of December. I have multiple events already coming up this week. Those icons show up on this calendar as well. So I know that this is an assignment. It's got that little piece of paper with a pencil. This right here is a discussion, another assignment. Here's just an event, right? I can change it if it's better for me to look at things per week versus per month, or I can even just look at more of like a list. Okay, so you have some different view options there. You also can jump back or jump forward within the calendar. Here you can actually mark which ones you want to see and which ones you don't. Okay, so just by simply selecting and unselecting. And do you remember how we talked about setting those colors on the dashboard? That's where those colors kind of correspond. So right now I'm looking at lots of blue things, and that's because they're coming from this course right here. Okay, so that's pretty helpful. We're going to go ahead now and we're going to talk about the inbox, which we see right here in this global navigation. And the inbox is just simply how you can communicate with your child's teachers. It works very similar to an email, right? Any inbox messages, you would see them listed right within here. This is our button to compose a new message. I love that when you come to select your course, they give you a list of favorites, so you can very quickly get to the one you want. Or if it's not one of your favorites, you still have access to those as well. Right? You can, of course, put your subject and your message. It also allows you to include any attachments Or if it's easier for you to just record an audio or a video, you can just do that right from within this inbox. So kind of slick. The other piece that I really, really like about Canvas's communications is that when you send a message to your child's teacher through Canvas, it not only goes to the teacher's Canvas account, but it also goes to their school email. So it's kind of like they get tapped twice, right, to be notified of that message that you've sent to them. And then teachers can respond either right from their school email, and it will look like it came from Canvas, or they can, of course, jump into Canvas and respond. So just from the teacher viewpoint, it makes it like super slick to be able to communicate with families through that inbox. Okay. All right, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to now just start jumping into talking about the grades. There are actually two different ways that you can access grades for your child. If you go right into the course, so I'm just going to click on this course card. If teacher has made grades visible within course navigation, I could get to them right here. Okay, but oftentimes, especially with our younger learners, we like to keep this course navigation as simple as possible. In fact, some teachers might only have 2 or 3 things sitting here. And so you might not find grades there. And if that's the case, remember, you can always jump into grades from right on that dashboard by clicking that big bar, View Grades. And what that does is it's actually going to take you to a list. This would be the child you're observing, their name. This would be the course. And then you can see that there are some kind of wackadoodle grades sitting here. We just tell parents, ignore this. We don't typically measure grades via percents. And you're also going to notice, gosh, look at all these no grades, right? And that might be the case for your child's teacher. You might see, gosh, I don't see any grades here. Especially at the elementary level, again, we use so many different tools and platforms to assess where students are in their learning mastery. And typically teachers will compile all of those pieces of evidence and kind of look at that whole picture before they'll post a grade. So if you're not seeing grades, know that it's okay. Canvas will still allow you to see the rich feedback that's happening between your student and their teacher. You'll get to see your child's submissions. You can see rubrics and more. And then I always just say this, coming out of the classroom, please know that if there was any reason for concern, your child's teacher will have gotten in contact with you, right? So that's my little disclosure there. All right, so I'm just going to go jump into one of these. I'll just jump into this one right here. So this is the course, and I'm just clicking in it, and you can see it takes me right into the grades. On the right-hand side, if your child's teacher is using grades, this scale probably looks more familiar, right? That's our elementary scale, that E, M, P, and so forth, okay? You have the capability to print grades. I like to recommend clicking on the Show All Details because it's going to give us some important information as we kind of scroll down. And so now we're going to see all of the assignments that were ever assigned within this course. I can see what the name of those assignments are. You'll notice that these are active links, that if I click on any of them, it's going to immediately take me into the assignment. I can see when it was due. I can see status, which this is often what a lot of parents are, most focused on is, do we have any missing work? So we can see that. I can see scores. And if I scroll down, you'll start to notice that I have some other little icons and things, right? So this one right here, we're looking at this exit ticket here for Module 4. I see a grade. I see these little dialogue buttons. That tells me that there has been some feedback. There have been some comments. And then I also have this little icon, which tells me that there is a rubric. And as I scroll down, I can see those comments. So here's a little media comment. Excellent job on your math exit ticket. Okay, so that was a media comment that the teacher had left. I can see any typed comments. I can come and see the rubric. This tells me exactly what standard we were working on and where they scored and so forth. Okay, now if I want to see even some more information, if I really want to see this assignment, I'm just going to go ahead and click right on that assignment. It's going to take me into it. And if I click on View Feedback, I can see child submission. This was the work that was completed. I can see any annotations that the teacher might have done, right? Again, I have access to those media comments. I have access to that rubric and so forth. And that's where I really think that just the heart of the system is. And of course, that is just like such a huge piece of classroom. We know that kids respond well with immediate and effective feedback. And so that's like, as a parent, where I'm like, this is so cool that you can see all of that that's happening. And it really helps to support your child in their learning. right? All right. The last thing that I want to show you within the browser version of Canvas is this very magical button down here, this little question mark. This is support. And so we have support not only for our teachers, for our students, but also for our families. If you're ever just struggling a little bit in Canvas, we've kind of put some support tools in place here within this question mark. First of all, we have a YouTube playlist of Canvas videos that are directed just to parents, so you can check those out. Searching the Canvas guides. It's kind of like a Google, but just for Canvas. I use it all the time. When I have a question about Canvas, I'll just come in and click on here and search the guides. If you had a technical thing that something major was going wrong, you can, of course, report that problem. And then there are some resources for remote learning right in here if you wanted to take a peek at those. So that is the browser version of Canvas. Are there any questions before I kind of scoot over to the Canvas iOS app?
There are no questions in the chat.
Okay. I know it's a lot of talking. It's a lot of me talking at families, which isn't my favorite way to present, but.
Sorry, I do have one question.
Yeah,
is this being recorded so that we can go back to it?
Is
because I think I missed the initial when we first signed on, but I wasn't able to have that option myself, so I was hoping you guys were doing it. So
yes,
okay, thank you.
Yep, it is being recorded.
Thanks.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and switch. I have lost my WebEx here. Can't find any of my windows right now, so just bear with me for a second. You guys have all disappeared from my screen, so that's fun. Let's see here. Let's share. Okay, let's see if you guys can see my iPad. It helps if I wake it up, right? All right, my puppy. Everyone can see my iPad, okay? Awesome, okay. So we're just gonna go ahead and we're gonna switch now to the Canvas iOS app. Now they also make an Android and a Samsung app. I'm just going to be showing it from the Apple side. It looks very similar in all of those platforms. And I'm going to go ahead and get started. So Canvas actually has 3 different apps. There is a teacher app, the yellow one here. There is a student app. And then, of course, the one we're going to be taking a look at tonight is the parent app, okay, the blue one. And so this, I mean, a lot of families are like, totally just want to go to the Canvas app. And I always say, this app really was designed for information on the go. You're going to notice really quickly, it's not quite as detailed as that browser version, right? If you're wanting to see that feedback and seeing the rubric and seeing your child's actual submission, I suggest just look at it on the browser. And again, that can be on your phone, right? Using your internet, whatever internet browser you have on your phone, or it can be on your home computer. This app is just really for quick information. Okay, so when you first get logged into the app, this is what it looks like. You don't have those pretty course cards, right? We can't like make favorites and that type of thing. But you're gonna notice that it lands on one of my children. So if I'm observing multiple children, that's how I would switch. So it just lands on one of them. It's also how I could quickly add another child. So for this student, these are all of their classes. It tells me if there's a grade, and if there's a grade, what that grade is, right? Running across the bottom here, this is kind of our global navigation. So here are my courses. This next little button here is my calendar. And you have the option to, again, look at a week or a month, but again, not as detailed, right? In fact, you're like, where are all the events? Well, the events are actually indicated with little dots. You probably can't see them from this view right now, but anything with a little dot just lets me know that that is an event, okay, within Canvas. And of course I can click on that and it takes me right into whatever that is. Look at another one here. These are taking me into assignments and so forth. Actually, I am in December here. So this one too, an assignment. Yeah. So then on the last tab within your global navigation within the Canvas app is alerts. And so if we kind of take a look here, we can see that I see global announcements. I can find them within the app. I can also see, oh goodness, we have an assignment missing. right? And I can click on that and it takes me right into that assignment so I can help support my child. Parents like those red things, right? The high alert. Ah! We're going to go ahead though and take a look within one of these courses. So I'm just going to jump into one of them here and see how the grades differ. So I'll just come right back into this one. So I'm immediately brought onto a screen where all of the assignments are. And so it tells me if my child submitted it or not submitted it. So green means submitted, not submitted is just listed like that. I can see any of the grades that have been given. But you'll notice I don't have any option to get to that rubric. I don't have any option to necessarily see that feedback or those comments in between. In fact, if I click on one of them, and I'll just go ahead and find one here to click on, this one right here, all it does is it takes me into the actual assignment. So I can come in and see what it looked like. I can click, and this one happened to be a PDF, so I can see this is what my child had to do, but I don't get to actually see my child's submission, okay? One thing that I do like, let's say that you came across an assignment and you're like, oh goodness, I thought my child turned in this numbers about me poster. And so if I tap on that, I can see, all right, here are the directions. And if I had a question, do you see this little symbol down here in the right-hand corner? I love that if you tap on that, it immediately creates a message that has the teachers, that it's addressed to the teachers. It says what child it's regarding and what assignment. And so you can quickly put in that message and send that off for your child's teacher. So that's kind of a handy thing that the app does offer. Okay. The other thing that I have from within this course is I can look at the front page. So this is what the front page looks like. These are what are called navigation buttons for children. And so if I clicked on this, you'll see what happens. It actually takes me to the browser. It takes me right to Safari on my iPad. So kind of interesting there. So that's kind of the basics of the Canvas app. Now this little sandwich, that's what I would call it in my 4th grade classroom, the 3 lines up here. If you click on that little sandwich, you of course have some account options within here. You can get to just your inbox. So I can get to just where all my messages are, and I can create more and send a message. Right. I also can manage my students. And this is actually unique to the app. It's not managing in the sense of like adding additional students, because we would do that right here. It's managing that I can set alerts for myself. And so I can come and per child, if I wanted to really customize to be notified when an assignment is missing, I want to be notified when an assignment grade is below, and I can come in and type all of that in. So that's kind of a unique feature that only the app offers and not the browser version, right? We, of course, have that help menu too. Again, you can get to that YouTube playlist, search those guides, report problems, and so forth. Okay? So that's kind of the basis for Canvas, the browser and the iOS app. So a lot of information, and it was all given to you very quick, but we also want to make sure that we address any questions that you might have. So now is the time to feel free, come off of your mic if that's comfortable for you, or go ahead and put them into the chat. You have 4 Canvas people at your mercy ready to answer questions, so please don't hesitate if you have any.
Hi, so I was following along with you, and on mine, where you go to the students' alerts page, I had a different icon than you had. So I don't know if you want to kind of go back to that section.
So right here within managing students here?
No, so if you were on one of your students' accounts and you go to their page and click on alerts.
Oh, down here, got it.
Yeah.
Yep.
So when you had the list of, I think you were on something before and there was like a list of, yeah, right here. Oh, yeah. Okay. So maybe it is the same then. So what does the I mean? Is that just like information or?
Yep. So this one happens to be a global announcement. And when we set the global announcement up, we can set what kind of announcement it is. And we set this one up just as an informational announcement. And that's why that little I is there. Yeah. So if it was like a warning, it probably would have like, it might be red and it might just have a W next to it or something like that. Okay. And this one, So this one, if like we sent it to every single student in every course, and so because this student is in a lot of courses, I get that global announcement like multiple times, right? But you also can dismiss it. So once you've seen it, you can just swipe right on it and just dismiss.
Okay.
Yeah. So great question. Any other questions?
So I just joined just a
Okay.
little bit ago. I thought it started at 7. Did I miss something?
Yeah, it started at 6:30, but that's okay because we have recorded it and we will post a link for that as soon as it's available. We'll get that out to your school secretary so that they can send that to families.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, my stuff said it was at 7. So, okay.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
That's okay. All right. I'll watch for the link.
Okay.
I do have one more question. We have a child in the first grade, and Mrs. Pierce posts a lot. You know, she basically, I think, is posting pretty much every assignment, but she's kind of posting it in the event that we would go virtual. So
Okay.
I guess if those are sort of posted, I guess my question is, why is she doing that if we're not virtual?
A lot of our teachers actually have some learners who are virtual right now, right? If they've had to be quarantined or had to
That's true.
stay home because
Okay.
they're sick, and so it's a way to keep everyone on the same page, so there doesn't have to be a lot of catch up afterwards. And then it's also, of course, in the event that we do go virtual, students are very familiar with the process to submit assignments, to find work, and so forth.
I see. Okay.
And Jamie, that's what I was going to say too. We're trying to use it as much as we can to get the kiddos familiar, especially at that first grade level. We had library first in our first trimester of specials, and so that was really great because Mrs. Rupert was really able to get them comfortable with Canvas too. So that's why you see the assignments out there in my classroom too. We really use it just to kind of help expose the kids to it and make sure that they're comfortable. So.
Mrs. Rupert, my kids have nothing but good things to say about you. Both Emmett and Charlie love you.
I love them too.
Okay, that's helpful. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Anyone else have questions? And thank you all for being patient with our teachers as they're learning this very complex system. I'm sure you see that a little bit in just what kind of content they are creating within Canvas. But yeah, it's been a big learning curve, and they really have just been a couple of months into learning the system. So hats off to our teachers because they are just rock stars. Awesome. Well, of course, you can reach out to Tammy or myself if you have questions. You also have these incredible supports within Mountain Bay who are happy to assist. But we will be sending this meeting recording out. So if you want to watch it again, family movie night, woo, you'll have access to it. But I just want to thank you all again for just taking time out of your busy evening to learn more about Canvas and how to support your child. So thank you all so much.